Hi, I'm Shaul. Yesterday or the day before, Zeiss announced a new series of Otus lenses made for mirrorless cameras. The Otus series made by Zeiss is their ultimate quality range of optics. There are very few compromises made with those lenses. They are all f1.4 prime lenses. All Otus lenses are Apo designs, which means they put an emphasis on correction of optical flaws or artifacts, and especially chromatic aberration. Now, Zeiss did not publish the exact design of those lenses, but looking at some samples, I came under the impression that those lenses are rather flat, so I suspect they contain quite a bit of low dispersion glass. Now, curiously, no one in the reviewers of those lenses will tell you that those lenses are lifeless, because those are highly regarded lenses, are very expensive, and they are made by very respected manufacturers with a long history of making optical glass. And this pisses me off a little bit, because prospective buyers may come under the wrong impression watching or reading those reviews. Zeiss themselves praise the 3D pop of their lenses, but the way they describe 3D pop is a combination of high sharpness and smooth transition from sharpness to unsharpness. So you get a photograph where your subject is highly sharp and detailed, while the background is all soft and painterly. Those lenses are still flat. They fail to preserve the volume or the form of objects depicted in the photographs. And it's an important distinction. The form or the volume of objects, or the implied depth of scenes, is what we are used to see with our naked eyes. And those photos from those new Otus lenses, specifically the first one announced, the 50mm f1.4, render in a different way. They are sharp and detailed. There's no dispute about that. But they fail to have this microgradation that defines good poppy optics. The rendering of those new Zeiss Otus lenses would not be much different from other high-end, very expensive lenses recently introduced, such as the Nikon 35mm f1.2 or the recent Sony G Masters or Canon's L series fast primes or fast zooms that are all rendering in the same very flat, very clinical way. Now, of course, there are applications that require such high detail and uber correction of optical flaws. But those applications involve machine vision. The photographs are made for machines, for further analysis, either for scientific or inspection applications, and not for human viewers. I don't think most of the users of these lenses intend to use them for those applications. I suspect the photographers who will acquire those expensive beasts will expect them to create pleasing images that are made for appreciation by human viewers. The preservation of form or volume in photography is not limited only to photographs of people. I think that it is important for most genres, even in landscape, where there is an ethos of rendering as much detail as possible. It is not quite the case. In landscape, what you look for when making a photograph is the distribution of light reflected from objects, depicting the form of objects, the volume, is what creates this feeling of vastness of the landscape. This is what makes us feel as if we were inside the scene, inside the photograph. And for that you need quite a different set of optical characteristics in your lenses. You can see how the rendering of volume creates a separation between each object in the scene, no matter its shape or its size, from the surroundings. And this is what gives the viewer the illusion of depth in this two-dimensional rendering. I think that there's no denying it is there. And this is something you cannot achieve with those new, very precise, very clinical lenses that are flooding the market these days. Some photographers, or shall I say photographic gear enthusiasts do not accept the existence of 3D pop. To them, if something cannot be objectively, instrumentally measured, it doesn't exist, or at least it doesn't matter. And in my daily life, in my work environment, I'm surrounded by people with such a mindset. But all you have to do is use your eyes. You can clearly see the difference between this image taken by a phone, which prioritizes sharpness and detail, and this image created with an older, perhaps simpler instrument that does preserve the form of things in a similar way to how our naked eyes see. I don't think that there's any dispute about the difference in the rendering of those two images. They're clearly not the same. The second image looks much more true to life, shall we say. And this authenticity, although it is only an illusion, although it is only a technical characteristic of the optics, does inspire an emotional connection. It does make you look at the subjects in a different way, as if you were closer to them. In our daily life, with our naked eyes, we cannot observe those micro details that some photographers are after. But we can appreciate the shape, the dimensionality of objects, of scenes. And I think that the camera industry has gone astray. High resolution sensors require a lot of correction in the optics to be able to resolve all the sensors' potential. That over correction, the incorporation of a lot of ED glass in those lenses just kills them. Images made with them look dead. There are so many dead lenses to choose from nowadays, while it is a lot rarer to find a nice poppy lens made for truly pleasing images. And that is a shame. So my task in this channel, or at least one of them, is to remind you what photography is really about. The photographs displayed in this video up until now were taken with this ancient setup. It's the Nikon D700, a camera introduced about 16 years ago, and this humble zoom lens, which is the Nikon 28 to 105 f3.5 to 4.5. It's a lens made at the very end of the film era, and its production stopped in 2006, I believe. It went into the shadows of photography too fast, because it's a wonderful lens. It's a truly versatile thing. It has 16 elements in 12 groups, but none of those elements are ED. And it's one of the poppiest lenses I had the pleasure to use, let alone zoom lenses, which tend to have more ED glass than primes. This lens also demonstrates that the number of elements has little significance to the rendering of a lens. It's more the type of glass used in it. Of course, not all lenses made in that era, the twilight of film and the birth of digital, were as nice. For example, this lens, which is the rather professional Nikon 80 to 200 f2.8 zoom, is not as nice. It contains two extra low dispersion elements, and as you may expect, the images it makes are quite flat, although its sharpness and bokeh are magnificent. But it's not what I'm looking for from a lens. It's actually the only telephoto lens I own for very occasional use. The thing is that at that time, of about 20 to 30 years ago, ED glass was incorporated only in enlarging optics, where it really made a difference in correcting chromatic aberration. In wider lenses, the color fringing is not as pronounced, and it doesn't really have to be corrected in order to make good photographs. The requirement for highly corrected optics came from pixel peepers, who turn just about any lens into an enlarging optics, because at 200% enlargement you can see everything, every flaw in the lens. For example, this is the Nikon 20 to 35 f2.8, another professional line zoom made in the 1990s, and it is devoid of any ED glass. Until now, I have not encountered any wide-angle zoom that is this poppy, that makes such true-to-life and real photographs as this lens. The ubiquitous glass types used in this lens, and especially the incorporation of high refractive index glass, allows it to be a lot smaller than any equivalent lens made these days, which is probably packed with low dispersion glass. And it is a very convenient lens to use due to its size and weight, but also due to the results it produces. Now, as to cameras. The camera filming me now is the Nikon ZF. It's a 2023 release, and I bought it because its autofocus performance was adequate for my needs. The Nikon Z cameras that predated it, especially in the prosumer level, were a little bit lacking in this department. Their continuous autofocus, and especially the algorithms for predictive autofocus, were not quite good enough for what I like doing with the camera. Every time I use older DSLRs, such as this one, the 700, it surprises me how little progress has been made. Well, there has been a lot of progress if you look at it from the specs or technical point of view. But in practice, this camera, introduced in 2008, is perfectly good enough for my needs in the autofocus department. It can really keep up with most high velocity scenarios, and its predictive autofocus is almost perfect. The thing is, every new camera introduced has better specs than the previous one. But my question is, who needs all those specs? For me, it's only a potential. I could do more things with the new cameras than with the old ones, but I don't really do them. I would rather concentrate on doing what I like to do than dream of all the new possibilities a new tool would allow for. Now, in using cameras such as this, you need to solve some problems. For instance, the D700 has quite a limited dynamic range compared to all those new high efficiency BSI sensors. So you have to keep in mind that exposure is a little bit of a problem when using it. But then problem solving is what makes you more skillful or better. You have to confront composition in a more thoughtful way. You have to consider the direction of the light, the intensity of the light. You have to decide whether you are going to give up on some shadow details or on some highlight details, because the sensor cannot expose for everything. It cannot contain such a range of tonality in many cases. Now the new cameras allow for a lot more leeway. The decisions you have to make are not as critical. There are less limitations. A lot of those decisions can be made in post-processing rather than during exposure. So those cameras makes life easier for the photographer, especially the professional high-end line of cameras that are also very fast, and there's very little they cannot do. But then I think that limitations promote creativity. And if you start your photographic evolution with tools that are too capable, that are much more capable than your actual needs, you might miss this phase of problem solving, which really makes you a proficient, skillful photographer. Some people ask me of my opinion about certain lenses. For example, someone asked me what I thought of the Zeiss Distagon 28mm f2. Someone else asked me about the Fujifilm 55mm f3.5 made for the medium format GFX system. I've never used those lenses, so I cannot give you an opinion. I developed a method to predict the rendering of a lens by exploring its optical design, and I think that it works. It works for about 90, maybe 95% of the cases. Now there are more subtle considerations, such as the ratio between the number of ED elements and the number of high refractive index elements, or the exact position of the ED elements in the lens barrel, whether they are at the front or towards the rear of the lens, which make a small difference in rendering. But overall, if you do want to buy a poppy true-to-life lens, you should choose one that does not contain any ED glass. That would be the easiest way to ensure that you will obtain some pop in your photographs. You should also look at image samples. For example, Flickr has a searchable database of photographs taken with different lenses, and you really have to look at hundreds of photographs taken with a lens to be able to feel the rendition, or to be able to identify repeating patterns in the way the lens draws a scene. There's no way around it, really. If you want to make sure that the lens you buy will render in a way you like, you have to go through this process. The decision tree I proposed is only a shortcut, but it will not tell you everything you want to know. So don't be lazy, just go through the whole process, do your research properly. And this is coming from someone who is an advocate of laziness. Lastly, something a little bit personal. I don't rely on YouTube to make a living. I don't have any affiliate links. I'm not trying to sell you anything, heaven forbid. I'm not telling you what to buy or what not to buy. I don't ask you to like my videos or to subscribe to my channel, although every new subscriber warms my heart a little bit. But I would ask you that if you find my videos useful to you, and you want to show some appreciation, just buy me a coffee. It's a nice gesture between gentlemen. I think that the next video will cover subjects that are closer to my heart, which is photographing people, how I do it, and what are the essential elements for dirty photography. So you will find the link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.